Hello and welcome back to the Stitch With A podcast. My name is Shannon. I am a knitter, crocheter and final year accounting student based in Scotland. If you would like to see what I get up to during the week, I will leave my social media on the screen and in the description below. Today is a regular podcast episode. I don't have any finished objects, but I do have a few works in progress. I have some, I believe they're new cast-ons up since last week. Yes, they are. And I also have a little bit of a tale of woe. So if you want to see what that's all about, then stick around and grab your knitting or crochet, grab your favourite drink, and let's get into it. So we'll start with the ones that are going okay. I'll leave the wobbly one to the end. So as I said, no finished objects, but there's a couple of new cast-ons. The first one is a test knit. This will be the Lavender Haze V-neck by KnitsbyPia. I can't remember when I cast this on. I think it was either Sunday or Monday. But this is where we're at. So got some cables. I am using a hand-dyed yarn for this, so it does look quite busy, but up close I really like it, so I'm going with it. This is Mamawooling Plush DK rather than fingering this time, and the colourway Potion. My cake is looking a bit funny. Okay, this is my second cake, so, and I've still got 4 more after this. So hopefully that's more than enough, but I have done the front and the back yoke and have joined at the underarms, so we're just knitting the body at the moment. I'm thinking, just because of the fact I'm using stash yarn, I'm gonna knit until I finish this cake and then probably go do the sleeves, so that, because I don't mind having a cropped jumper, but I don't want cropped sleeves. So I mean, it's one of those things I could order more, but because she's based in New Zealand it would take a while to get here, so I am just going to make do with what I have. The other option I have is I could order, for example, say Drops Daisy, which is a non-superwash merino in DK as well, and use a solid colour for the ribbing and like the edges and things like that, but we'll see. So Lavender Haze V-neck, I'm using 5mm. Yes, 5mm. I got gauge on the first try with this pattern, which never happens to me, and we were talking about it in the, oops, my fringe. We were talking about it in the test group on Instagram, and I think Pia, who is the designer, has a similar issue with other patterns, so she always has to size down because she's a loose knitter. So any of us who are loose knitters in that test group are like, we don't have to change needle sizes, this is so exciting. But yeah, so that's the story of that one. My next cast on, I left the other sock in the other room. I'll go get that. So this is the first sock. This is the Leftover Candy Socks by Knitting with Ev. And the sock set I actually won in a giveaway she did, I think, in 2023. Was it? Yeah, I think 2023. And my original plan was always to make her pattern with this sock set. And this week is sock week, so I thought, why not cast them on? If you don't know what sock week is, Knitty Natty hosts every year. It's a week-long knit-along where you try and knit at least one sock in a week. I have knit the first one. I mean, these are shorties, so I don't have as much knitting up here to do. I've knit the first one, and I'm on the second sock. This is where we are. I'm using Chalgoo Circular Needles Magic Loop. These are 2.25mm needles. And this, for this week, has been my, while I'm in a lecture or a workshop, knitting, because My lectures are all recorded and then posted online, so I just watch them after the fact. And I'm not taking notes all the time, and I will just get bored if I'm just sitting there, so I have this to work on. I am almost at the heel on this one. My hope is to finish both of them by Sunday, end of day Sunday, but that might be a little bit optimistic. I do need to take a photo of this one and submit it for prizes, so I will try and do that today. But yes, my leftover candy socks. I don't think this one's actually going to look any different because I haven't worked on it since I cast on the socks, but I'll show you anyway in case this is your first podcast that you're watching of mine. This is the Marina shawl by Amber O'Brien, and I'm on the stripy part. I am using 2 yarns. This one here is Black Elephant Blue Moon 4 on her sock base, and this one here is Good Yarns City Nights on her sparkle sock base. So I'm holding these two together. I'm using the recommended needle size, which is 3.75mm needles, because I did not gauge swatch for this. I don't gauge swatch for shawls unless I'm like really certain, like I'm very particular about what size it needs to be. But normally I'm not. Normally I don't mind what size it is. Like I'm not too bothered if it's a bit big or a bit small. So I just cast on. That might bite me in the bum one day, but so far it hasn't. I do gauge swatch most of the time for wearables though, because that has bitten me in the bum before. So this was my kind of like mindless lecture knitting, but then when I cast on the socks for Sock Week, that has a deadline, so I've been working on those more. And next week I will go back to working on this. Looks like it's going to be a short one today, but that's okay. If I don't have things to show, I don't have things to show, so. But this one. So story of this is it's self-drafted, and I did the back section, or I knit most of it a while back, finished it I think a week or 2 ago. It's going to be a cardigan. This is the back panel. Did the colour work and everything. It needs a block, but it is finished. I haven't blocked it yet because I need to get colour catchers because I'm worried about the tealy colour running. So, did the back part and then had to move on to doing the front panels. Now, this is self-drafted, so there's a lot of maths. I did my maths wrong. So I'll hold it up and see if you can see. I'm going to hold them from the bottom. But if I hold these up, this is probably going to be really hard to see. But this is much shorter. What happened is I wrote down the amount of rows I did between the ribbing and when I started the short rows, and then worked out from that when I need to start my v-neck decreases, v-neck decreases, and then also worked out where to start short rows. However, I completely forgot to add these short rows onto the row number that I had. So this is at least 24 rows too short. Because this was my first time self-drafting something like this, I was quite nervous about, when I started doing the decreases. So very hard to see, it's just like a really thin front thread. But it did put a lifeline in. I'm so thankful because I am now going to have to rip back to that. Well, probably didn't need to rip all the way back. No, I do, because I worked out my decrease rate wrong. So I need to rip all the way back and then start my decreases again and make sure this is actually the right length before I do the short rows. So that was annoying. But It's okay. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. As I said, I put a lifeline in. I'm so thankful I did that. Past me has no idea how much I'm going to rely on that later. So at some point this weekend, I am going to take this off the needles and rip back and start that section again. Thankfully, I don't need to do the whole thing again, but I do need to do the decreases again. At least I know my short rows are working out though. That is something I have found out, but yeah, so there's my little tale of woe. As far as needles and yarn are concerned, I'm using, this is wiped off, these are 3.5mm needles, and this yarn is just non-superwash, very rustic. Still got some, I don't know if it's like other wool in there that sometimes I have to pick out, so it definitely will need a wash. I picked it up from a market in New Zealand a few years ago, so I can't even remember who the farm or spinner was. I have a feeling this might even be either hand spun or, I don't know, just the way that it's spun. There's lots of really thin bits and then some really thick bits. But I mean, I'm enjoying working with it. But yeah, I need to start that bit again. So I was quite sad when I found that out yesterday, but I feel better about it today. And that is all of the knitting content this week. If that's what you're interested in and you don't want to hear the chatty bit, that's completely fine. Thank you for being here. If you do want to stay around for a little bit of chat, it won't be a long one, but I have a couple of things I could talk about. So the first thing being that, I'm just waiting for confirmation, but I should be starting my new job on Monday. This is Friday when I'm recording this. This will go up on Saturday. But I should be starting my new job on Monday. However, they did say that they needed my references back, ideally, beforehand. And I hadn't heard anything, so I sent them an email maybe about an hour ago. I've not heard back yet, but hopefully we're all good to go for Monday. Secondly, I have since acquired a sewing machine. So I will take a photo and I will put it somewhere on the screen. But it's an old Singer machine. And I love the colour. I've not tried sewing with it yet, so I don't know how it operates, and I probably need to get some oil for it. But my partner's mum had gone up to Inverness. Her aunt lives up there and is having to sell her house. She's moved into a nursing home and she needs to sell her house. So my partner's mum and then her cousins all went and started going through the stuff, what her aunt wanted to keep and what she was getting rid of. And she mentioned to my partner that there was a sewing machine and asked if I wanted it. So she bought the sewing machine and the lamp down from Inverness, and I'm very excited to have a go on it. It is, as I said, it's quite an old machine, so I haven't had a full look at it yet. It might only be able to do straight stitch and maybe a zigzag, but it's better than no machine. And I've always heard good things about a lot of vintage sewing machines, that they tend to last for quite a while. It is heavy. It has a case and everything, and like a fold out table / arm, and it is quite hefty, but I am very looking forward to it. My goal at some point is to start sewing my own clothes. So I want to sew my own clothes, already knit and crochet a lot of my own jumpers and things. So I would love, probably say about 80% of stuff I bring in to be made by me. That would be an absolute goal of mine. I would love that so much. But we will see. I don't have any fabric. I have one spool of thread. So I will need to do at some point some shopping, probably in charity shops. So we will see how that goes. But yes, there may be some sewing content coming up on this channel, but I don't know for certain just yet. But yeah, that's my exciting news for this week. what have you been up to this week? Have you been working on projects? What projects have you been working on? Anything else that, you know, maybe you're proud of or excited about and you want to share? If you want to see, as I said at the beginning of the video, what happens kind of in the week, more day to day, I will leave my Instagram, my TikTok and my Ravelry on the screen. And if you enjoyed today's video, be sure to give me a like. If you want to see more, be sure you're subscribed so that you don't miss any future uploads. I am getting a lot more consistent. It is, for the most part, unless I'm unwell, Saturdays and Tuesdays. But just in case, subscribing is always good, because sometimes, I mean, I found that I can watch someone and then if I don't subscribe, I will never find them again, and it's really sad. So be sure to subscribe. It also helps me out as well. And thank you for being here. I will see you on Tuesday for a new video. Can't remember what that is. I'm pretty sure I have planned it, but I'll need to go have a look on my computer. But I will see you on Tuesday for a new video. And until then, take care and I will see you then. Bye bye.